You either get the results that you wanted. In this case, you want to book the role, or you get lessons that you needed to learn to then get that result later on in your life. So, and like everything, it's nothing inherently has any meaning. So you booking the role or not booking the role has zero meaning one way or the other. It's only the meanings that we associate with it. So if you place all your value as a human being or all your value as an actor in them saying, yes, we'll have you, and when you don't book it, you feel like you're not a good actor. You feel like you're a loser. You feel like it's never going to work out. You feel like maybe you got to go get another job. Like all of those negative thoughts that might ruminate in your head. It's because you're ascribing the wrong meaning to that outcome. Welcome to Inside the Audition, the podcast where we go behind the scenes for a deep dive look into the world of auditions. I'm Joe Larson, creator of Actors Audition Club, an international community helping actors book your dream roles in TV, film, and theater.
And I'm Brandon Knox, actor, producer, and co-host. Each episode, we chat with actors and industry professionals to share their audition experiences, insights, and advice.
We provide actors with actionable tips, strategies, and resources to help you elevate your auditions.
We demystify the often intimidating and misunderstood world of auditions to help you succeed.
So whether you're just starting out on your acting journey or you're a seasoned pro, join our Actors Audition Club members as we go
Inside the Audition.
Don't give away your power as an actor to a casting director or to a producer or a director and walk away. Oh, they didn't pick me. Here we go again. I guess if only they would just see my talent. If only they'd just cast me. If only someone would discover me, or if only someone would help me book a role, or any of those disempowering thoughts. It's just, how can you empower yourself? How can you feel great? See the callback as a win. See the hold as a win. Hey there, audition rock stars. Welcome to Inside the Audition, the ultimate backstage pass to mastering the art and science of auditioning. I'm Joey Freddy Larson, your audition guru, along with my co-host extraordinaire,
Brandon Knox here, your friendly neighborhood audition aficionado, joining Joey every week to bring you tips, tricks, and secrets into nailing your next big audition and landing all of your dream roles.
Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out on your acting journey, we're thrilled to have you join us on this wild ride. And if you're already part of the Actors Audition Club family, welcome back.
Inside the Audition is your go-to resource for everything auditions. We'll be joined by special guests, industry experts, and fellow actors as they share their audition stories, insights, and advice.
Don't miss a beat. Subscribe now and be the first to know when the curtain rises on our latest episodes. Grab your script, warm up those vocal cords, and get ready to take center stage with us as we go
Inside the Audition.
Here we are, inside the audition.
Mm-hmm.
How you doing, BK?
Doing well. It's a good day. Sunny outside. It's nice to get that, that extra sun going on. That's nice.
Fuck the sun. You're forgetting the main thing. The main thing, it is, drumroll please, Brandon Knox's toity-toid birthday.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yes, it is my birthday today, March 13th.
Yes.
Wonderful day to be born. A magic number 13. You're also born on January 13th, correct?
January 13th, lucky number 13. Yeah. It's bad luck for a lot of people, but I play Black 13 all the time. Not all the time, but when I'm at the casino, I'll throw some money on Black 13 on the roulette table. And I've been known to win. I'll hang back, wait for my moment, then I'll drop 10 or 20 bucks on Black 13. And there's been several times where on the first spin it hit and I just took my money and left. Or the second spin, it's blown people's mind where they think like, is that guy cheating somehow? So I highly recommend it. Let's go to the casino tonight. Take all your money, put it on Black 13.
We'll see. We'll see about that. I might have plans, but
rain check.
Yeah.
Rain check. Yes. Well, happy birthday. I know you've had a fantastic year professionally and personally. Lots of amazing things. lots of challenges as life throws at us as well. But
Oh yeah.
you're alive. You've survived another spin around the sun, and not only survived, but thrived and flourished. Thank you for all of your hard work and dedication and commitment to Actors Audition Club, the podcast, our clients, and to your own craft and your own career too. So it's been a year of growth, and we're excited to have another big year this year with you. So celebrate it today. You earned it. You deserved it. What do we got on tap for episode 165 today?
We are talking about holds and availability checks today, Lars. So do you want to talk about what a hold and availability check is?
Sure. But first, I just want to frame this entire conversation. The goal is to book it. Everybody wants to book it. That's the big prize. However, booking the role is largely out of our control. We control our preparation. We control what we put down in the audition, but we don't really have any control over who gets cast. That's production. That's the director. Sometimes that's chemistry. Sometimes that's things like how you line up with other characters. So if they've cast someone that's going to be your wife or your brother, do you look like him or her? So there's a lot of things out of our control. So we wanted to talk about holds and availability checks. So when you do the audition, you get the callback. We'll talk a little bit about callbacks, and then the hold, and then the heartbreak for a lot of people is to get so close to the finish line and then to be released and not book it. And that can be very maddening and very frustrating. So we just want to talk about that and frame how ultimately that is a win. To get the callback is a win. To get a hold is a win. To get the avail check is a win. How to reframe it. And this came up because one of our members consistently is getting callbacks, consistently getting holds and avail checks, occasionally getting the booking, but most of us, we don't get more roles than we do get. So it's about how to deal with that. And it can be very frustrating. It can be very heartbreaking. It's easy to get down on yourself. So we wanted to talk about it and help actors reframe that. So I'll throw it back to you. Talk about holds. I think most people listening or watching know what a hold is, but you can talk about it.
Well, just for the people that don't, what is an availability check and a hold?
Well, an availability check or a hold is when you're on the short list. So they really like you. You're down to maybe there's one or two or three people, but before they offer you the role, they got to make sure that you're available. They don't want any surprises where they offer it to you and then they find out that you're not available for certain days. Or if sometimes it's like in a case of a commercial, it might be weird things like conflicts where it's a fast food commercial and you've already done a fast food commercial. That's a competitor. So it becomes a conflict. So it could be things like that. So you get the hold. It feels like you're close to the finish line. They're looking at schedule, and maybe it's the producers looking at you and a small handful of other people.
Usually I think it's down to if you're getting a hold and available check, you are either down. It's down to two. You're one of the final two actors or one of the final three actors, I'm pretty sure. And it sort of varies between project to project.
Yeah, it's 100% going to vary. You never know, but you know that you're bookable, and then you know that they feel strong about you, that you could be booking the role. And we talked about this. Really, anyone who gets the call back could be doing the job. And at a certain level,
callback is a win. Like no matter what anyone says about it, getting a callback for any role is a win. Like you have made it to that next level. You've made it to that next stage. They've really loved what you did the first time and want to see how you take it further. And that's a wonderful thing, right?
Yeah. So talk about that a little bit more. So an actor comes in, they're all distraught and disheveled. Oh, fuck, I missed it. Sometimes we get mad at production or casting or whatever. And we'll be somewhat cursing them that they didn't choose you, or even feeling down on their self, like, oh, I was so close. When am I ever when is it going to fall my way? So how would you talk to an actor like that? How would you help them reframe that as a win? How do we see losing a hold or losing an avail check as a loss, or is there another way to reframe it?
I mean, In a way, it is a loss. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It is a loss. Like you lost the role, which isn't a bad thing. Casting has seen the audition and loved what you did. You made it to the next round. You made it to the callbacks, and they loved your callback so much they wanted to make sure that you were available for the dates that they're going to be shooting on. And unfortunately, they went in a different direction, whether that be like I love the saying of you get cast because you look like someone's brother-in-law, and you don't get cast because you look like someone's brother-in-law. And it varies from project to project. But getting to that final stage, getting to that final point where they're like, are you available for March 13th? And you say, yes, I am. I'm ready to go. You tell me when, and I'll be there. And sometimes it just doesn't work out like that. But it is a win. Like to get down to that final stage that they loved everything that you were doing. And unfortunately, it didn't work out for this project. But you know what? It might work out for the next. It might work out for the next one. It might work out for several other projects down the line. But like the fact that you made it and you did your darndest, you worked harder than anyone else, and you made it to that point is in itself a win for you yourself personally. And it's kind of sets a standard for how you want to approach your own work. Are you going to be right for everything that comes your way? No. Are you going to be perfect for every role that you audition for? No. But the important thing is that you put in your best, and people saw that, and people liked what you were doing enough to call you back, enough to make sure that you were available for those dates. That in and itself is a win. You made it down to the final two. You always see people in the Olympic podium. The gold medalist is smiling and super happy. The silver medalist is pissed off. They are upset because they got a silver medal instead of gold. They were this close, but they didn't make it. And that's how you kind of have to look at it. Yes, you're upset, but you are a silver medalist in this category because you made it further than anyone else other than one person. And that's okay. That's actually a really beautiful thing. And the more you understand that that's a beautiful thing and you set yourself up for long-term success, like that's what you want. As our teacher, Tom Todoroff, likes to say, you're not fighting for one job. You're fighting for a career. And you're guilty until you're proven talented. So keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing everything you can to get the role. If it doesn't fall your way, that's okay, because you've set a standard for yourself to be in those top two, to be a gold medalist and a silver medalist. And that is okay.
Right. One of my coaches, James Wedmore, often says, he uses the phrase, with everything in life, especially when you have an expectation. So I'm a sports guy in baseball. I know you love hockey and basketball. When I think of this in terms of baseball, yeah, you want to get up and you want to get a hit every time, ideally a home run every time. Is that ever going to happen? Nobody's ever hit 1,000. Nobody hits a home run every time they go. And to be a Hall of Fame baseball player, you hit 3 out of 10, which means you could strike out 7 out of 10 times and still be one of the greatest players of all time.
Yeah.
And it's very similar. So like if you step up to the plate and you smoke one, you smash a line drive, but a guy dives to catch it, or it's right back at the pitcher and it's just right there. You got all of that ball. You put a great swing on it. You take a great cut, and then the outfielder climbs the fence and catches it as it's going to go over the wall. He steals it. Do you go back to the dugout thinking, oh, fuck, I suck. That was a loss. Yeah, you got out, but you had a fantastic at-bat. You did everything mechanically that you set out. Your intentions were there. Maybe your mindset going into it. You had a plan. You followed a plan of attack. You executed that. And then the chips didn't fall where they may. So I really liken that to the same thing. Even if you did strike out in baseball, if you went up there, had a plan, took 3 good cuts, and the pitcher just flat out beat you on that day, but then maybe you learn something, you notice something about his delivery, you notice something about the spin on the ball, you got a beat on his speed or the movement of his pitches, so that then next at bat you're going to be a little better. That is also a win. So it's really reframing things. So what's the win with a hold? I mean, even a callback, and really even without the callback, we need to focus on what we can control. And what can we control? We control our craft, we control our preparation, we control our execution of the audition. And then you really got to, if you've done that, you can actually wash your hands and be like, I'm okay wherever that lands. That's my take on this character and this story. That's with the little time I had to prepare. I prepared as best as I can, and that's what I gave them. And then take it or leave it. And like you said, let go of the idea that one role is going to make or break you. You probably, ideally, you want to be doing this for the rest of your life. So one role is not even going to cut it. Like, what role are you going to get today that lasts for the next 40 years of your life? Chances are it's going to be a series of roles. Maybe you'll land those big series where you work on a series for 8 or 10 years, which is the holy grail, but it's not going to be one role anyway. So why would we place so much importance into one role and then let that devastate us? So I think it's, again, a lot of identity. So don't give away your power as an actor to a casting director or to a producer or a director and walk away. Oh, they didn't pick me. Here we go again. I guess if only they would just see my talent, if only they'd just cast me, if only someone would discover me, or if only someone would help me book a role, or any of those disempowering thoughts. It's just, how can you empower yourself? How can you feel great? See the callback as a win, see the hold as a win, see the veil check. Like, they saw great work. And I guarantee none of those, by the time you get to a callback or a hold, a veil check, and then when you get released, they're never thinking, let's let this guy go, he was shitty. It's, these people were all great. I'm sad that I can't cast this person. I think a lot of the times they're like, fuck, I wish we could cast all of these people. And then they're slotting you for the next thing. Like, now they know your work.
That's a fantastic point, Lars. Yeah, you didn't get on hold because you were shitty.
Right.
That's a great reminder for all of us. Like, you were fantastic. You were one of the best out of all of them, and it just didn't fall your way for one reason or another, and that's
right,
completely out of your control. And it's I wish we could frame that. That is wonderful.
Yeah, and it's just like, again, it's empowering yourself and what you can control. You mentioned the Olympics too. If we want to switch, we'll switch metaphors. If this was a sprint and it's not a sprint, a better analogy would be a marathon. As frustrating it is, it's very frustrating in any game or any competition to just barely lose. If you lose in overtime, you lose in the last shot, you make it all the way to the Super Bowl, and then on that last drive, or in the case of a race, if it comes down to a photo finish and they beat you by a nose, yeah, that's heartbreaking. But would you rather lose the gold medal by a nose, or would you be the guy that never made the race in the first place, or as soon as they shot the gun and you fell flat on your face, never made it out of the box, never even completed the race? And like, is that the loss that you want? Sure, you didn't get so close, so maybe it's not heartbreaking. You just got blown out of the water. Or it's like when you lose in any sport in a blowout. Yeah, it's heartbreaking to lose 1 point, but would you really rather be blown out and they just mop the floors with you? Or would you rather be like, man, I gave it my all, I put everything into that, and the chips just didn't fall my way this time, but you know what? It was a great competition. It was a great match. Everyone who saw me play, nobody's going to be thinking that guy sucks. They're going to think, man, that guy dug deep right down to the final second of the race, and he got a silver. And the challenging thing is, there's really no there's no carrot or silver medal. We don't get the home game, the home version of the game. This is a winner takes all. As far as booking the role and getting the money for it, it is a winner takes all. It is highly competitive. So we also need to understand that going into it. We've chosen to play a game that 1,000 people submit, 500 people get seen, 10 people go to a short list, and only one person gets it.
Yep.
But does that mean 590 of those people or 990 of those people are shitty and they're losers? No. It just means they didn't get this one. And there's so many stories too about like pick a celebrity, someone who's had a Hall of Fame acting career, and they'll be like, yeah, I went 0 for my first 100, or I had years where I had a 2-year period where I didn't really book anything. I got that big thing, and then I was hot, and then it seemed like it dried up, and they just weathered the storm, kept working, kept submitting, kept auditioning, and lo and behold, they have their second or third or fourth wind and another break down there. So it's reframing things.
Yes. Yeah, and understanding that. Do you have any stories of being on hold, Lars?
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
first, what was your first hold ever? What was it for?
That I'm not sure of. I'm getting old now that I'm in 15 years. But I can tell you this, the very first hold, I do know the very first hold that I got, I booked it. So for me, I associated the first few times I got holds and didn't get booked, it was like, what the fuck? Like, because you go do the callback and then usually like it's an hour or two later, or sometimes it's immediately or later that night, and you're like, avail check, hold, and you're like, yeah, they want me. So it's this. I mean, we do. Everyone wants to be wanted, and we want to be liked, and we want to be accepted. There is a little bit of that, but it's you can't associate your self-worth with that, and we do got to get out of any of that childhood thoughts that booking the role means you're a good human being, or like it can't affect your self-worth. You just need to trust you're worthy, and it's your birthright to be here as a human being, to have a great life and to achieve all your dreams. And then your job is to put the work in and to do your best, but then let it go. So getting back to those holds. So that's me. Is my first experience was, a hold means I'm about to get another email with the booking. So the first few then became a bit of a rude awakening, where it was like, oh shit, I can get held and then unheld. Don't unhold me. Hold me. I want to be held. Hold me. But one of the biggest that I can remember was, it was actually a commercial. I believe it was a Bel Air Direct insurance commercial. It was shooting in Budapest, Hungary, or maybe it was Prague. I feel like it was Budapest. It was going to be 8 days, so a couple travel days, all expense paid. I think it was going to pay like 10 grand. And it was kind of a medieval setting, which is why they wanted to use an old, you may have seen the commercial. I think it was like a knight in shining armor on this horse. And I know it came down to me and one other guy. And so I'm thinking 8 right away. I'm thinking 8 grand. I'm thinking trip of a lifetime, travel back and forth, new European city, country, and experience I've never been a part of. And then the funny thing is, most of the times you don't hear that you were released. You just don't hear anything. So we just get the like, no news is bad news most of the time. Occasionally you'll get that you've been released, which is nice and also not nice, but usually it's you hear you just don't hear anything, and when the shoot date is, so you're like, unless they put the shoot back, someone else is on set right now shooting this. So that's one of mine that I can think of. So many close calls. I think a lot of this business is getting used to what can be seen as losses and then dealing with those. You have holds, you have bookings that then fall through. I had a really cool booking for American Gods that I was pumped about. I was thrilled with my audition. I booked it, and then they would give me avail checks, and then I would say yes, and then they would push it back. And the issue was it needed to be like full-blown winter, and that was a very mild winter for us here, so it was raining. And I think in the end, they just ended up cutting the scene. It was a cold open for an episode of American Gods, and I never shot it. It was like, first it was November, then it's going to be January, then February. Next thing you know, we have no snow, and they're wrapping. So I never booked it. I had a U.S. national commercial that I shot for Popeyes. Great payday for the session, but then it never aired. But me going into it, US National, I'm like, I didn't know what that is at first, but then I hear high 5 figures, maybe 6 figures. So I'm seeing dollar signs. I'm thinking, oh, great. The next year, 2 years of my life financially, I'm not going to have to sweat. Like, I'm set. I was probably starting to spend a little bit more money, knowing that come September, baby, I'm getting my $10,000 renewal checks. And what happened is the marketing for Popeyes, whatever chicken box that we did the spots for, the marketing team just decided they weren't going to use those spots. They shot 5 spots, of which I was one of them, and they just never used them. None of them. It wasn't anything to do with the performance. It was just somebody in marketing decided we're not going to release commercials for that 5-piece spicy chicken box. They went in another direction. So I got my whatever $3,000 for the day, but not the $100,000. So I think it's measuring your expectations. Like often in life, it's expectations. We set these high expectations. We start dreaming, which is good. But then when it all comes crashing down, you can't let it get to you. So it's how do you want to celebrate the highs, but you don't, if you get too high and then you come crashing down to these lows, that's dangerous. So how do you ride the even keel? And I think how you do that is, like Tom says, is like you prove to yourself that you're an actor by the actions you take, and let the world witness it. But like when you're doing your voice and speech warm-ups, when you're working on new text, when you're submitting, when you're working on monologues, you're watching movies, you're reading scripts, you're attending workshops, you're doing all those things. You're an actor, whether you're on set or on stage. You're an actor. You're doing all the things. If you are doing all those things, you're an actor. You don't need to feel that it's only the validation of a booking where you're like, oh, I'm an actor again. What about all the days where you're not on set, where you're not on stage? Are you not an actor? Of course you are. So it's a reframe.
Yes. Yeah. Reframe how you think of these things. What
about you? Do you have old stories?
Oh, yeah. I remember my very first hold. I did book it. It was for a Sunny D Chillers commercial. Nice. And I didn't know what a hold meant at all. And so I was on my way to another audition. And I'm like, oh, what does that mean? Do I not go to this audition? And my agent was like, no, go to the audition. It just, we'll tell you more if we get any more information. And I was like, oh, okay. And I ended up booking the job, the Sunny D Chillers, and then I booked the other job that I went to that day as well. So I got 2 bookings back to back, which was really nice. Especially those were my first 2 auditions with my first agent, and it felt very good. The one I didn't book recently, I went to Vancouver with my partner, and we were on the ferry from Victoria to Vancouver, and I had been on hold. I did the callback in Vancouver, shot it at this studio, and then nailed the callback. Was really happy with it. Next day, I'm on hold, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm going to Montreal. I'm getting off this plane and then going to Montreal, and I'm seeing dollar signs. I'm counting it. I'm like, okay, and then I can pay off this, and I can pay for this, and I can pay for that. And on the ferry from Victoria to Vancouver to go home, I got released. And I was heartbroken. I was like, oh, fuck. I was not expecting this. I thought I was it for sure. And it didn't go my way. And yes, I was heartbroken. And yes, it did take me a little bit of time to come to grips with it. But you know what? I was like, okay, I did a great job. I was really happy with how it went down, how I did with it. And even getting the call back in Vancouver and then setting up the fact that like, oh, okay, I need a studio. I need someone to shoot this. I need someone to work with me, and like finding all that stuff and pulling that all together was great. And I was really proud of myself for organizing that and getting that all done and being down to the final 2 or 3 people. Like in it itself, it is a win. And as much as it feels so, it is difficult to get over because you are so close, but understanding that like it is a win. Like the fact that I got that close means I'm doing the right things.
Right.
And like, yes, it may not lead to something right now, but it might lead to something down the line.
Yeah, it's. I mean, in that case, I mean, you did all the things. Like you were professional. You were traveling. You executed. You booked the studio. You did all that. Whereas it could have been like you could have got frazzled and been like, I'm traveling. I'm on vacation. I can't do this right now. I'm in vacation mode. Yeah, it's a couple other things that are coming up as potential reframes. One is to watch how far. Like, yeah, you want to dream and you want to project forward. But it's the idea of counting eggs before they've hatched, I think, a little bit. So yeah.
Like I don't think spending excess money before you have the job is a good idea.
No.
I think I've been in that situation. Lars, I'm pretty sure you've been in that situation where like you're like, oh yeah, I'm definitely getting this and I'm getting a big payday. And then you spend like $100, $300 on something and you're like, fuck, okay, shouldn't have done that.
Right. Well, it's in that case, it's not even waiting to know that you booked it, but I would say wait till you have the check in hand or the direct deposit in your bank account.
Yes.
Like,
100%.
wait for that check. And non-union people, I'm from my non-union days, there'd be like, I would book you work so hard to book the job. I mean, the life of an actor, this is one of the challenges. You're serially unemployed, and every time to get a day of work, you have to essentially go re-interview, which some people would like be the worst thing ever. People, they interview one and then they have a job for 20 years and they never have to do it again. Mm-hmm. But we're constantly having to prove ourselves and to show our worth and our merit. What was I saying? I lost my train of thought.
Our merit. And going into interviews every day.
Yeah, going into interviews every day. Fuck, I lost where I was going.
Some people may not be able to handle it.
It's gone. I had something
all right.
good.
Well, I know for my brother, like I've talked to him about this, and he works at a car dealership, and like he hates going into interviews, and he and I have talked extensively about like he wouldn't want to do this because he hates doing interviews. He hates having to sing for his supper. And like it's a difficult path, but it's a path that we've signed up for. And like people at the highest level, they're still fighting for jobs. They're still hoping that they're going to get that next big thing, that next job that keeps them on set for 3 to 5 months. So that they can pay for their lifestyle, that they can pay for the mortgage on their house. Like it's a constant battle. I know with my partner, Shannon, like seeing and meeting her extended family who are all artists and are all either actors or musicians and seeing how they like interact with each other and it's such a loving environment. And also like the fact that they all have houses and they all have families and they are living this kind of dream in a lot of ways. Like they're like, it's very, it's reinforcing really that like, okay, like perseverance can get you all of the things that, I want. And it may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, it may not be this month, but keep fighting, keep going. And you know what? It's going to turn in my favor eventually. And there's going to be good years. There's going to be bad years. But like the more you like learn to save, learn to have different accounts. So that way that you save extra money so that you have money for when you don't have those jobs, and have something else that you can do in the meantime throughout those jobs. I think it's, for ACTRA members, I believe like the average working days on set are about 9 per year for ACTRA members. And so like understanding that and understanding that you need to have other forms of getting money As Randy Thomas, is it Randy Thomas?
Yeah.
Yeah, Randy Thomas like to say, have different revenue streams,
Right.
different revenue streams of money that's always coming in no matter what. And that will help you in the long run for your career so that you're not feeling so desperate that you need to book this job right now or else I can't pay my rent.
Right. That's a big part of it. And I think I got my train of thought back. I was speaking of, this is the challenge. It is a challenging, it's not the usual career path. So, but we chose this. So you can't choose this and then begrudge that. It's like you wanted to play the game. So play the game. And a few things is separate in the beginning, separate your finances and bills from your acting life, because it doesn't have to be the same. Like you want to make sure you have some security. And like you said, if you are gripping the hockey stick so tightly because, oh my God, I need to book this or I'm going to be living under a bridge.
Yeah.
That's not a healthy way to live. Of course, if you have a family or kids, that's not responsible either. So there's different ways to make different. I mean, is that a 9-to-5 Joe job that isn't your passion, but allows you to play your passion stress-free? Or is that side hustles? Is that industry adjacent jobs where you're working as a PA or you're working for a casting house or you're teaching classes or voice lessons or whatever it might be? Figure that stuff out. And also I think a big part of it is, you mentioned good years and bad years. I mean, I don't know that you should see it as a bad year. There's going to be bigger years than others, some ups and downs. But see it all.
Gig work, there's always going to be ups and downs.
Yeah, and it's really at this point, like, listen, compared to think of all the jobs people could be doing. We chose this. We're blessed to be artists. We're blessed to be courageous enough to choose a path in the arts, which isn't a clear path. Like, it's not go to school, get a degree, and then work at one company for 40 years and get a pension. But take the fact that you're even in the game. Like people like Gary Vee always talks about this, is he feels he wins every day because he's doing the things that he loves to do. So he doesn't need a huge business deal or a viral video or some external validation. He wakes up every day and thanks his fucking lucky stars, that he's even alive. Like if you're alive as a human being right now, you're living in the best place that you could be living in our galaxy, like trillions of miles in all directions, and your face would just explode. So you're here on Earth. You have oxygen. Hopefully you have water. You have a roof over your head. If you're listening to this, you have fucking Wi-Fi and a device that is like Star Trekian, where you can watch all of the world's information. So I think it's spinning back to some gratitude. And again, knowing that you chose this race and you chose this game, and just really reframing it, and then getting back to like, you can need not needing it. Like when you feel you really need this, it's like you don't need it. You don't need it, and also nobody owes you anything. That's the flip side to that coin. Is sometimes feel like, oh, I've been paying my dues. I deserve this one, or I just need to give me a chance. It's like, nobody's thinking about you. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just everyone's got their own shit. Everyone's trying to take care of their own self-preservation and their own family. So no one's out there really thinking, oh God, I think it's as president of Hollywood, I think it's about time Brandon Knox gets his dues and we need to throw one his way. It's like, that would be great, but not needing it. So just releasing those expectations, knowing that you're going to be okay. And in the grand scheme of the world's problems, is like there's wars around the world, kids dying, people starving, and are we going to be so fucking oblivious that we get upset that we didn't go play make believe for very, very good money when other people are doing their best to escape where they live and they're oppressed and can't cross a border or don't know when a rocket's going to land on their fucking house? Like that's the stuff to worry about, and just thank our stars and thank our lucky stars that we have this opportunity, and that we had the courage to take this and the blessings to be able to do it. Like the amount of privilege to be in, there's a certain level of privilege associated to being an artist. There's a lot of people, it's like the only thing they're thinking about is how to get food and running water and to not be blowing up. No, they're not thinking about, oh, I wish someone would let me play make-believe on their set. Not to take the importance away from it, because I think storytelling and the importance of the escapism of telling stories and to be able to escape and to escape some of those stresses of life, what we do is very important. But we also got to mention that it's maybe not the most important thing, and we're just lucky to be here in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And one final thing is, and this is a James Wedmoreism, one of the things, profound things that he said a long time ago that's really stuck with me, is when we have, I'll just call them negative thoughts or negative emotions and feelings, like this is human. So we're not saying be a robot and like when you get the opportunity of a lifetime and it slips through your fingers that you're not going to feel it for a few days. Don't let it drag you down so that it takes you out of the game for a week and affects your family and the ripple effect and affects your health. And all of a sudden you're binge eating and binge drinking and not taking care of yourself and the world sucks because you lost this role. But the other thing is, and this was the lesson, is negative feelings and emotions. The reason we label them negative is they have a feeling. Like there's a bodily feeling. If I say you're on hold and then I say the hold is gone, you feel a sinking. Maybe it's in your throat. Maybe it's in the pit of your stomach. Maybe it's stress in your neck or in your jaw. And none of that stuff feels good. And what James taught me is the reason those negative thoughts don't feel good is because they're actually not the truth about who you are as a being. And the truth is you're an energetic being, your life force, soul, whatever you want to call it, is we're essentially all balls of light, balls of energy that somehow we've been lucky enough to spawn on Earth at this time and do all these crazy things. And we're abundant, we're effervescent, we're connected to everything else. That's the true nature of who we are. And when you think about that, that feels good. Hey, everything's going to be okay. Hey, I'm my life force, meat suit or no meat suit, the force inside us that's making us be who we are, and the essence of us is that's eternal. So to get caught up in something that is less than, the reason that feels good is because we're getting away from source, or some people call it the universe, call it source, call it God, call it each other, call it the light versus the dark, whatever frame you need. Is it feels bad when you're like, oh shit, I didn't book it. Am I any good? Is this ever going to work out? Those feelings start to feel bad because they're actually not the truth, versus the flip side is, hey, everything's going to be okay. I'm abundant. I'm growing. I'm in it for the long haul. I'm talented. I work hard. Look at all the things I can be grateful for. Then all of a sudden you start feeling good. Why does that feel good? Because you're actually connected to source and the real truth of who you are. So just remember that if you're feeling shitty and ruminating on something, the reason those feelings are there is because it's you're getting away from who your true nature is and what your real energy and your light as a being is. That was a huge lesson for me. And every time I feel shitty, I'm like, why does this feel shitty? This feels shitty because it's not the truth of who I am at my max level. Oh, great. Start changing your thoughts.
Yeah.
We've mentioned in other episodes, like literally change the way you see things, and the things you see change. So all of a sudden you flip a switch and all these callbacks and holds and close calls, are you knocking on the door? Are you right there? That's so much validation of people saying like, that was a great performance. We want to work with you. We'd love to work with you. And then somebody else got it. Also the idea of maybe you get what you get and you don't get what you don't get. Maybe you like the butterfly effect of things is a butterfly flaps his wings in Mexico and a hurricane or a tsunami starts, or a tornado in Brazil, so you can also be thinking, hey, maybe if you need it, I didn't book that role, but maybe you would have died in a car accident on the way to set that morning. Or maybe not booking that role freed you up. The time period where you would have been on set shooting that
Yeah.
freed you up for a bigger, better opportunity that was really the one meant for you.
That's probably a better way of thinking about it than getting into a car crash. But
you know what I mean? It's like some people are like, fuck, I'm like, they're in a traffic jam and they're so mad that they're late. Well, maybe the reason you're late is because if you were on time, somebody would have blown through a red light and T-boned you and killed you. Like it's a weird way to think of things, but sometimes you can take things that you don't see as blessings and realize maybe that was a blessing because the universe is a little unknown and maybe something bad would have happened. And I think it's really just trusting everything is happening for you, not to you. We get to do these things. So rather than being like, oh, I lost something, it's maybe just trusting that it's all going to play out the way it needs to play out and everything's going to be okay.
Yes, everything is going to be okay. That's a great way to end things.
Yeah, provided you're doing the things on the front end.
Yes.
Are you growing? Are you learning? Are you putting the work? Do you have a discipline? Are you putting in your prep time and rehearsal time and doing the things that you can control and releasing the things you don't control?
Yes.
Yeah. That's the hard part.
All right. I think that is going to be it for episode 165. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We will see you all next week. And thank you for listening to this episode.
Yes. And reminder for those of you who are listening, if you're not a member of Actors Audition Club, you can go to actorsauditionclub.com. You can do several things. You can join some of our free training. We've got the monologue challenge. You can download our free audition checklist, our free audition tracker. Those will help you shoot auditions in less time and also measure and improve your callback ratios and your booking ratios. The challenge will help you shoot a standout monologue. And you can just join Actors Audition Club. It's $37 a month. That gives you access to monthly workshops, to monthly Q&A sessions where you can work with our performance coaches and special industry guests on your auditions, gives you access to the private community so you can share and network and share resources and collaborate with other actors, and gives you access to our entire online library of audition training videos. So there's a ton of value there. So if you're feeling that you need to up level and elevate your auditions, especially if you're making what I believe is probably the number one mistake in auditions, and that's working with an untrained person on your auditions, meaning you're just shooting it with an untrained family member or a random friend rather than someone who's an actor or someone trained in film, TV, theater as an actor or as a casting or a professional or as a director. You're leaving a lot of money on the table there, and you're potentially you're leaving your best. So you want to make sure you get your best, and that's why we're here to support you. So you can go join Actors Audition Club or start with some of those free training resources. And as always, if you ever have any questions, reach out to us. You can email us hello@actorsauditionclub.com. Ask a question. We'll answer it on an episode. Maybe we'll even have you as a guest on an episode as well. And stay tuned.
Goodbye, everybody.